Hi everyone. I was just thinking about how it's important to read books and how I don't know if it's that important to revisit books, but I always revisit books once in a while. Every couple of years I'll revisit a book, especially if I really like it. I've read a couple of books 3 or 4 times, and I think I do it because I like to reread it and get a bigger picture of the book, a better understanding of the concepts, or just because I like the storyline. I like to revisit the book of Love in the Time of Cholera. I've read it like 3 or 4 times. I've read the book Rain God. I've revisited it a couple of times. But one book that I'm currently revisiting is the book 11 Minutes. I know I've talked a lot about this book, 11 Minutes, but it's by Paulo Coelho. But it's like a lot of times we don't get a deeper understanding. It's like, how do we remember? Will we remember every part of the book? Will we remember every concept of the book? Will we get the main idea? If we talk about it, is it important to remember every detail of the book or to remember the concepts? What will we remember at the end after reading it? And several years when you go revisit a book, what will you remember? Like this book is about sex work and human trafficking. And I think it starts off by how she becomes a sex worker, how she encounters masturbation and getting her first she encounters getting her first period, and then her mom telling her to put something in her underwear to catch the blood. And then she encounters the first masturbation incident, which she masturbates and finds pleasure in it. And then she ends up meeting this boy at 15 years old, which she ends up liking. And he she starts messing around with them, going into foreplay. But then she ends up one day her mom doesn't comes home late from work, and she has sex with him, and she talks about her losing her virginity to this guy. After that, she has many different boyfriends. Oh no, before that, she has many different boyfriends who she's messing around with, and then she finally has sex with this one guy who it just happens one day. She encounters a proposition at 15 or 16 or later on in life at 16 years old, which tells her about sex work and prostitution and how she'll make a lot of money if she goes on to do sex work. It promises her a lot of money. She becomes a samba dancer, which pays $300 every time she does it, or sex work. I don't remember which part. And she's from Brazil, and I don't know if she moves to Geneva or New York. Either it's Europe or New York. I'm not sure which one is it. But like, she becomes a sex worker and talks about her sex work experience, how she is only a sex worker, and what will people think of her or not think of her, how her samba dancing is going. She talks about writing to her mother about how it's going great, and she has found a new guy, and she has a great life now that's paying well instead of being in school. She talks about different sexual encounters with this guy named Ralph, this guy named Terrence. One of the guys introduces her to S&M, talking about her reaching her limits, and they experience having sex, but with reaching higher limits and having a safe word. And then she meets this guy who tells her that he's in love with her and is paying for sex just to get to know her. So it's like how will she get out of this? It's like I've read the book, but I know she meets a guy and he falls in love with her, and she ends up making love with him, and she ends up having encounters with him, and she experienced love for the first time. And I don't remember how it ends because I'm not there yet. I'm barely halfway through the 3/4 part of the book. But it's like she finds something to look forward to. It doesn't say if she's planning on leaving sex work at the point I'm reading right now. But, excuse me. But the thing is that, like, is it a Cinderella story? where at the end she meets a guy and it's going to take her to freedom, because that's not how sex work works. Sex work is it right? Is it not right? What is human trafficking? What is sex work? What is prostitution? What is it? What is underage girls working in prostitution? Like she might be. I'm not sure if she was 15 or 7, between 15 and 17 years old when she became a prostitute. I mean, a sex worker. How does she experience does she ever experience sexual violence? It's not really said in the book, but I know that a lot of sex works, there's a lot of sexual violence, drugs, and rape incidents. There's sometimes even murder. It's not the safest job. Sometimes there's high level escorting too, which pays a lot of money, and it's could be a very dangerous profession. I know that in Vegas it's legal, but I mean, should it be legal? Should it not be legal? I'm not even sure. That depends on the person. But this book is really interesting. It's about a different perspective, not the dangers of sex work, but the what actually happens within this girl's life. How she becomes a sex worker, her encounters in sex are with these men, how she is being caught up, how she knows that people are calling her a prostitute, a sex worker, but she doesn't know what to say, how she's lying to her mother and telling her that she is not, and that I mean that she's doing well in life, that she's actually doing well and making a lot of money. So how does she live with it within herself to know that she's gonna keep doing this job or not? I haven't reached the end. I don't remember exactly. I think she does meet this guy and he falls in love with her. I don't know if he gets her out of prostitution or if she stays with him. I don't remember exactly, but it's like I've talked a lot about this book, and it's like I get that I got it wrong, but it's like how many times I read the book about 10 or 15 years ago and I'm revisiting it right now and I'm like, wow, I actually got a lot of it wrong, but I got a lot of the concept. It was sex work. She meets a guy, she encounters prostitution, she talks about her sexual encounters in it. So I got some of it right, but it's like, should I be revisiting all the books? I don't think I should. It's like I don't think I should be revisiting everything. Especially, I mean, you should revisit it if you're not grasping the material, if you're not understanding some of the concepts and what's going on, some of the figurative language and literary interpretation you should be getting out of it. If it's just for fun, if you like to read for fun, but it's like I don't. Maybe I should write like a summary or a review or of how book endings are. Usually in reviews, you don't talk about the ending. You just talk about if the book is good or not, and you critique it. In summaries, you just summarize the whole book and to its entirety. So it's like if you write an essay, it might be a comparative essay. It might be a question about one of the themes in the book. It might be about the storyline. So what I'm saying is it important to revisit a book, especially if you don't get it, if you've lost touch with the book. If it's your favorite book, sometimes you reread it a lot. So it's like, should we be revisiting books? Should we not be revisiting books? Once we grasp the material, should we move on and go on to the next topic? And because sometimes we're just grasping the topics and we'll learn about it. Any book can teach us anything, even love books. I mean, romance novels can teach us anything. So it's like, how is it important to? It's important to read, though. It's important. I do not keep I can't keep emphasizing how important it is for us to read and to have a higher understanding of what the books are about and why it's important to read it. It will help you with language learning, with vocabulary, and with understanding different harder concepts as you keep going on. And it helps little kids too. I'm saying, but you should moderate. I mean, it's hard when we moderate children and teens and what they should be reading, but schools do it. So they usually keep assigned books and according to their grade level. So parents do that. The libraries, they have teen books for teens. So which they can check out and which books they can't check out. So I mean, this is an excellent. I thought this book was excellent. But is it a Cinderella story in which I understand that sex work is not completely all good things, and that at the end she encounters someone who might get her out of prostitution, out of sex work, and she experiences love, and he might save her, which is not what always happens. And sometimes you like a little realness in it, in a book and stuff. So is it good or not? Should we be liking Cinderella like stories? Anyways, have a good one.